There's a new scandal out now. What a surprise. The 2012 presidential election was going on. The jobs numbers were released. And if you remember right, they absolutely destroyed anyone who said that those numbers aren't true. And the number one guy who took the brunt of the hits is a guy named Jack Welch, a guy that we used to think was a hero, a patriot, a genius, a guy that everybody tried to be like. Jack Welch used to run GE before GE was a nightmare. And he was known as a great businessman and a brilliant, decent man. But he decided to say that this whole administration was nonsense. And during the election, he was on CNBC and he said, those numbers aren't real. And they tore him apart. For days, they feasted on the bones of this senile old man, Jack Welch. As it turns out, Jack Welch knew exactly what he was talking about. As it turns out, we find out now that the administration falsified the jobs report right before the election. Falsified the jobs report. And it's not just one person that did it. It took many people to do it. I'm wondering if they are apologizing on CNBC today to Jack Welch, a guy who is a legend. A legend. A guy we used to look at and say, how does he build it? And he held people to a high standard. He was a decent human being. He still is a decent human being, an icon in business. And what happens? During the election, we get a jobs report that was what? What was it? 8.1 to
7.8.
7.8. And everybody knows that was wrong. Everybody knows it was wrong. I remember saying, do you know people who are creating jobs? Do you know what is the number trick that they're doing here? Well, Jack Welch, when it came out, he was on the air at CNBC and he said, this is a lie. This is a lie.
They started calling him an unemployment rate truther just to smear him with the birther thing.
Yep. So he was so dirt strong on it. He's like, look, I know how this works. And he looked at everybody on the set. You know how this works. This isn't right. Mm-hmm. You know that number's not right. And they smeared him and hammered him, made him look like a crazy conspiracy, an old fuddy-duddy gone out, time to put him out to pasture. And what happens?
Looks like he was right.
Looks like he was right?
Exactly right.
And it wasn't just some one person that was smearing it. What was it? They say now, it was because they were trying to be so accurate that the standards were so high by this administration that they were insisting that they actually complete, what was it, how many, 80,000 calls or something like that?
Something like that.
They had to reach out to 80,000 people. Well, they were 10 and 20,000 people short every month.
Yeah, roughly 60,000 households.
Okay. And so they would be 10 to 20,000 short every single month. And on this one in particular, they were wildly short. And so they just made the rest of them up. So Jack Welch was absolutely right. Absolutely right. Now, where does he go to get his reputation back? And is anyone care that you get your news from MSNBC or CNBC in this particular case? And these guys are the journalists that are the ones telling you the truth about what's really going on in Wall Street, in banking, that these are the people that are supposed to be smart enough to figure it all out and tell you the truth. And they smeared Jack Welch, and they did it, I believe, knowingly. Jack Welch is smart enough to not make statements like that because he's a political hack. And if you listened to him or if you knew anything at all about what was going on in this country, you would know that you would at least question it. You'd say, Jack, I don't know. We called the Labor Department and they said that, but I will agree with you. It doesn't look right to me.
It's fishy.
But until we have any proof on that, we're going to have to take these. But I will tell you, America, that doesn't look right.
Well, sadly, now we're a year beyond the election, which is when, it would have been nice to find out before the election, and Welch was trying to tell everybody. But now it's a year later, and it's too late. So by
And
the
I
time
don't
the
think-
actual evidence comes out, it's too late.
I don't think anybody cares. I don't think anybody, and
Do you think they
there's
would
a-
have cared then? If the unemployment rate would have been above 8 at the election, no president's ever been elected with an unemployment rate over 8.
Well, no, I think it would have hurt him if the unemployment number would have stayed there because he couldn't have said it's getting better.
Right. That's right. So it might have made a difference.
It made a difference.
It really might have.
And I will tell you this: would it have made a difference if somebody would have exposed this before the election?
Yeah.
That they were lying about, they were literally making up the unemployment number, making it up. I mean, you don't make it up to make it look bad. You don't make it up to make it look good. You tell the real unemployment number. We haven't been telling the real unemployment number for a long time. Jeffy, go to Shadow Stats and look for the real unemployment number. It's, I think, the U6. We haven't been talking about the real unemployment number. The way that we'd calculate it during the Depression, the way we calculated it in the 60s and 70s, we changed that. We changed that because it made the government look bad. But when we see a wrong, we need to unite and make sure, if the mainstream media does not correct this wrong and apologize to Jack Welch, I ask you to make sure that Facebook and Twitter is alive today with the apology to Jack Welch, and to have you write and tweet anything. If you have a website, write something about Jack Welch, about how the man was right, and do it without vitriol. Just hold his arms back up. This man is an American icon, and he is an American hero, and we used to all believe that, and they smeared him and tore him down and made him look like a crazy man. He wasn't crazy. He was right.